are just as fast on sand as everywhere else.
Ah, we get Catra now. I get what they were trying to do with having Catra's story happen the episode after. It's to create an illusion of time to prevent it from seeming like characters teleport around and give an idea of how events progressed. It took time for everything in Catra's story to progress and for her to get to the Crimson Wastes. And by her arriving after the BFS, it means her side happened a bit later, as we see Huntara's companions in the bar from last episode and they're talking about Adora and the rest. Yet it's still messy as far as a timetable for events go, and I'll get to why in a second.
I have no idea what you're doing. The last thing I told you was to leave me alone.
Yeah, but this is Scorpia, should have known better.
It was so noble of you. You pushed me away in order to save me.
I love Catra's reaction here. She turns and makes to deny it, but cuts herself off because she knows full well that is what she was doing.
You know what I see here? All my hard work ignored because of one mistake. My dreams turning to dust in front of my eyes. But mainly I'm looking at that.
I guess this place is on some main pathway to the Crimson Waste or something?
Huh. Must be abandoned. The Crimson Waste is completely deserted.
Not in the mood to deal with.
Why is everyone completely unaware of the fact that the Crimson Waste is populated? Huntara and her goons apparently take out anyone from the rebellion or horde so they don't poke their heads too deep and bring their war into the wastes, which is why she led Adora and the rest into that ambush. But even before that, did no one ever leave the waste to tell anyone people lived out there? Did no academics check the place out? George and Lance have apparently been all over the world looking for First One's artifacts and never peeked into here?
Of course Hordak is wrong. He's a shut-in who lives in his lab and doesn't know how to do anything.
Hordak apparently didn't look into this place hard enough either, which is weird because he's looking for stuff for his portal thing. I'm just really confused as to why everyone seems to think no one lived out in the waste and it's just some dead zone. Or is it that the people that lived here only recently moved here in the last year or so?
Move it. I'm tired.
You know, Catra, I'm not questioning your leadership here. Maybe we shouldn't pick on the heavily armed crowd.
I'm pretty sure the main reason why Catra is able to get away with this is because she's able to convince the people around her that she belongs here better than Adora, Glimmer, or Bow ever could.
What are they going to do? Send me to die in the Crimson Waste? Would you look at that?
Catra might not be in a cell right now, but this is still the lowest point in her life. She's completely lost everything and has essentially just stopped caring until...
Good riddance to that She-Ra girl.
Are you kidding me?
Notice that she says that. It's not a, oh my god, not again, but more an eager, heck yeah, there's something I can focus my attention on, because she's still determined to make Adora suffer, and Catra is now a woman with little direction and nothing to lose at this point, so here she goes.
Why do we need to know which way they're going?
Because Adora and her friends are always after the same thing we are.
While that's not the worst string of logic for her to follow, I am certain that's not the main reason she perked up.
So spit it out already. Where are they going?
And I'd like to place some emphasis on what happens next. This goat girl tries to intimidate Catra, kind of like with what she did with Adora because they're outsiders. But in this case, Catra is mostly unfazed and just starts laughing.
I've done this. The whole threatening people bit. I've been there, and I just don't care.
She effectively spells out what I said before.
Some people have a bad day. I've had a bad life. If I want something, it's taken from me.
Catra is just laying out all of her deepest grievances to these people because, well, why the heck not? She's out here to die anyway.
If I win a fight, I lose the war. Threats only work on someone who has something to lose.
I like this because too many shows have the antagonist just brush off or lightly concern themselves with the fact their plans keep getting foiled or blow up in their face. And I think it's neat because they have been visually showing Catra becoming more and more frustrated as failures mount. And I think this whole thing she's saying is just her being past a breaking point.
But me? I've already lost it all.
The show really couldn't have spelled it out better than this whole scene could.
And you can't be any good at this because you just let yourself get distracted.
Just how effortlessly they were able to coordinate that. Plus, that has to be the cutest look I've ever seen on Scorpia.
So, what'll it be?
This whole scene is essentially just everybody gangster till the real gangsters show up, with Goat Girl agreeing to take Catra to find Adora.
Good.
Okay, so this is why the timetable is messy. Last we saw these four, they arrived here at night, but now it's what, midday? So that they set up camp and sleep for the night, or did they just stand there for hours? I can get that the sun will be out, as Huntara's companions would have needed time to get back to the bar for Catra to arrive, but what were these four doing? Just staring?
I can't believe I'm standing in front of Mara's ship.
Oh, now I get it. Adora was just awestruck for hours and everyone was just waiting for her to snap out of it. That was a joke, people.
How do you know this is Mara?
Light Hope showed me Mara's ship crashing right before the stars disappeared.
Okay, so now they're heading inside and finally we're gonna get some lore. Eventually, right? They enter and find it looted, and it's a good thing Adora poked around first one's ruins enough, because she quickly figures out what she's supposed to do here. Then jump back to Catra being led by... what are the names of these two? Whatever, probably not important.
You really had them going! I've never seen a room of murderous toughs look so freaked out before! It was truly an honor to witness.
I had given up trying to arrange anything into a meaningful timeline at this point, because apparently Catra is going to catch up to Adora on foot.
Oops, can you carry her again?
Scorpia, you don't have to ask.
Carry her, idiot. Move.
Catra's mood changed the moment she realized just how easy it is to intimidate people in the waste. After having to deal with Shadow Weaver's parenting skills, it's not hard to imagine why she enjoys holding power over people and being the one who can push others around. That's actually a thing that can happen to abuse victims. Sometimes they develop a need to be the abuser rather than the victim, oftentimes without even realizing that's what they're doing it for.
I'm going to call you Kyle.
What? Shut up and keep walking, Kyle.
Hence why Catra comes to love the Crimson Waste so fast. It's the perfect place to easily gain and maintain power over people, a lot easier to do than it was in the Horde.
So, this is fun.
Yeah, it is. Ugh.
Okay, somehow, and I don't know how, they keep finding ways to top Scorpia's cuteness.
Stop it right now or I take it all back.
I'm not saying anything.
This whole thing between these two, the light bantering, Catra even blushing, it's great to finally see these two seriously bonding with one another.
You're doing that thing with your face where it's obvious what you're thinking.
Do you mean smiling?
At last, Catra admits she likes someone.
We make a good team, that's it.
Right. A good team. That's us.
While she and Scorpia certainly have a good time here, I do think what matters more is the fact that Catra can exert power over people here. When she gets ambushed by one of the gangs and its leader Tongue Lasher gives this big speech and tries to be intimidating like the goat girl was before, she just laughs.
It sounds even stupider the second time.
Because Catra has been in the grips of Shadow Weaver, so veiled threats don't faze her. She's experienced far worse and learned a lot about intimidation from Shadow Weaver.
Seriously, Tongue Lasher? Which one of you came up with that?
That's why she acts so casual throughout this.
I like that whip. I think I'll be taking it.
It's a little.
Hey, do you even know how to use a whip?
Yeah, it can't be hard if this guy figured it out.
And now she's straight up bantering with Scorpia because this guy is literally nothing compared to what she's faced in the Horde. When they do fight, Catra easily outmaneuvers Lashor and takes over his gang, so he really was nothing to her. Plus she bonds a lot with Scorpia, which I shouldn't need to explain why I think that's great at this point. Anyway, back with Adora, who finally goes further into the ship and finds Mara.
I am Mara, She-Ra of Etheria.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's just a hologram that Adora cannot activate.
No, this isn't it. It's usually a password or something.
Seriously, getting answers is one of Adora's primary motivations in Season 1, but at every turn until this season where Adora could have asked someone something about She-Ra or Mara, she just didn't. And I wouldn't harp on this too much if her abandoning that motive had more of an explanation to it. Like, I get pushing it to the side to help people and fight the Horde. It became more important to her in Ep 3 of Season 1, but I never get the impression that she couldn't just ask around about She-Ra from time to time, at least for people who knew about the legend and whatnot, or just ask Raz more about this Mara character. I doubt Adora is unable to multitask. Besides that, her frustration here is understandable.
Of course it's on a loop, because why would a hologram ever give me a straight answer? Solve a puzzle, train, let go. I do everything they tell me.
Laying her feelings out like that
Waiting for answers, and all I'm left with is
a seriously human thing to do.
Why was I taken from my family? Why was I forced to become a soldier? This was nothing but another dead end.
And when Adora finally gets the recording by Mara on, She looks on with this blank expression, is in disbelief, as it looks like she's actually going to get something at last, and she just can't believe it. But even then, she gets very little to go on. The recording's all messed up, and so she can't really hear much of anything Mara is trying to say. Mara is saying that she's sorry that the line of She-Ra has now continued, and that using the sword to open a portal would be very bad. And that's really it as far as Mara's message goes. Oh, and somehow Catra got here just in time to hear a part of the message too, about the sword being the key to open a portal, and then just instantly takes out Bow and Glimmer with sleep darts, and quickly surround and even nail Huntara with two, forcing her to book it out of there when Adora gets disarmed.
This might be the quickest I've ever won a fight.
Yeah, I wonder if you're ever gonna forget these sleep darts exist. But now, Catra has finally gotten one big successful victory over Adora. There's no hiccups or bumps on the road, and you can tell she's in this minor state of euphoria during the party.
Scorpia! A toast to Scorpia!
When Catra lost Adora, then shoved her away because of a misunderstanding, she lost an important supportive figure in her life, and I will always stand by the notion that while Scorpia can be annoying at times, she was certainly what Catra needed at this point in her life. And being in the Crimson Ways allowed her to get away from her responsibilities in the Horde, and have the time to really notice Scorpia and her help.
They said this was called a party.
She went to Princess Prom. How did the concept of parties only come to her now?
Hordak will see me for what I'm worth, and I'll be back on top.
Her desire for power is rooted in what I said before, and subconsciously, Catra wants it. That's why even though the Horde absolutely sucks for her, she is totally willing to just go back there without a second thought now that she has the sword.
Or, you know, counterpoint.
Scorpia, meanwhile, knows full well that the Fright Zone is the last place Catra should be. Our Scorpion gal has realized that Catra has never been happy in the Fright Zone, and she tries to argue that staying here is better because here she's actually happy, she's actually having fun. Why go back to a place that sucks? Well, Catra doesn't really have an answer for that. Now, to be fair, Adora was the first person that tried to draw Catra away from the Fright Zone. Adora had made her own valiant attempt to get Catra to leave the Horde and come to a better place, but it fell apart because of the oddly convenient memories being brought up and Catra's own stubbornness at the time. But now, through this shared and fun experience, Scorpia is able to have Catra really start to doubt her previous ambitious plans. There's no more Shadow Weaver over there to hold a middle finger up at by amounting to something, and no matter what she did, her power wasn't exactly stable. It's not like Catra's instantly convinced, but I do think that she could have warmed up to the idea more, you know, until she went to gloat at Adora, because of course that's what she did. Adora goes on to explain the Galactic Horde and the fact that opening a portal will be dangerous.
Never a dull moment with you.
I really don't think Catra cares much about what Adora says. Catra doesn't even look at Adora much, and I really think she's just here to gloat and have the blonde squirm, never really caring for what she's saying until...
Shadow Weaver told me.
Oh, that beat drop and Catra's whole body going stiff. It's a few seconds, but you can just tell it's like someone buried a knife into her side.
Shadow Weaver told you? How exactly did Shadow Weaver tell you this? How?
Catra, Shadow Weaver is in bright mood.
No matter what Catra did, she was never good enough for her adoptive mother.
Shadow Weaver left me. For you.
Catra could never be looked at or feel the sensations of love, however twisted it was for Adora, and hearing once more that Shadow Weaver left for Adora.
All of this happened because of you.
Taking a look at Catra's point of view, it's always about Adora. Everything. And she's sick of it. A madness has creeped into Catra at this point, and her leaving with this look on her face only reinforced the idea that she's at a breaking point.
We are going back. We are going to open a portal.
And something's finally snapped within her.
And we are going to crush them all.
So that was episode 3 for season 3 of Overanalyzing She-Ra. If you like this video and want to see more, hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button and bell to get notifications about the next episode. I'll try to update this series every Thursday, so please share with other fans and also check out my channel for my video essays, music analysis, and complex character series. You might find them enjoyable as well.